Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of PRI Talk. Doing a 5-minute recruiting piece for you guys here, and today we are answering the question, what does real interest look like? And this is more my question, I guess, more than I maybe get this question. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But what does real interest look like? How do we know a school is interested? I'm going to try to do this in less than 5 minutes. Hopefully I can. How do we know a school is interested? So let's start from kind of the very beginning, right? If you're reaching out to schools and connecting with them, trying to engage with them, you are going to get things like questionnaires. You are going to get things like camp invites. You are going to get some sort of general correspondence, whether that is a handwritten letter in the mail or just a questionnaire or a camp invite. You will get, chances are, something from a school. Does that mean that the school is interested? It might, okay? We don't always have the answer to that question right away, but it's always good because it means that someone is reading your emails, okay? And someone is watching your film. All that is always very positive, but what does it mean? It might mean they're interested. It might mean you're on their recruiting depth chart, or it might mean you're not, okay? A lot of times college coaches are just responding to the influx of emails and correspondence that they get with, hey, here's our questionnaire, please fill it out. Hey, we're having a camp in the summer, because they can only have camps in the summer now, which is dumb. But here's our camp, here's this, and maybe they'll even send you something fancy in the mail, okay? Which is great and fantastic. And again, I'm always excited for athletes when they get really cool stuff and when they get responses, because it means that someone's checking their email. But what does real interest look like? And this is an idea that I've kind of been tossing around over the last couple months, definitely since June 15th of this year. Right now, okay, when we're talking about interest, a school can be interested in you, right? You can be on their depth chart. You can be one of 5. You can be one of 3. They can want to get on the phone with you. And this is something that happened a lot on June 15th. A lot of athletes had phone calls with schools. They had one phone call and then haven't heard back from the school, even though they reached out multiple times. And this wasn't just one athlete that I talked to. This was multiple, okay? So we're at the point now, and this is where some of my thought process is coming from, but we're at the point now that even on June 15th, a phone call doesn't necessarily communicate a really high level of interest. It might communicate a low level of interest, right? And that's part of the thing with interest is there's going to be levels, and it's always going to be the case. And I don't think that's going to change really ever, that we're going to have levels of interest, because that's just kind of the way the recruiting world is. But there are levels of interest. So having a phone call, does that mean it's a high level of interest or a low level of interest? We don't know. Okay. What we do know is kind of consistent communication. I want to say constant communication, but consistent communication definitely increases the level of interest that a school has in you and that you have in a school. Okay. But when it comes down to it, like I said, this is coming from kind of the last few months of going through this process with a bunch of athletes. Really, we know a school is interested when we start talking about a visit. And when you're able to go on a visit, okay? Once a school says, hey, we would love for you to come on a visit, can you get us some dates, okay? Or you say, I'm really interested, I would love to come on a visit, and the school responds with, hey, that's fantastic, we would love for you to come on a visit also. What are some dates that you have, right? You go through that conversation, whoever initiates it, starts it, I don't think it necessarily matters. But when you can have a conversation with a college coach that says, and the college coach says, we would love for you to come on a visit, and you can set up that visit date, that realistically is how you know a school is interested, okay? Interested at a really high level, not just maybe sort of interested, okay? Because if they're just sort of interested, they're going to say, hey, right now might not be the best time to visit, and blah, 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 right? They'll figure out a way to kind of swerve around the topic. But if they want you to come out and visit and they're like, hey, we're gonna let you meet the team and take you on a campus tour and we're gonna do all these things with you, we're gonna spend time with you while you're here and spend time with your parents on a visit, that is how you know a school is interested, okay? Really, until you get to that point, and you can stay stagnant for a really long time, and you can stay texting a lot, and you can maybe even have phone calls back and forth for a while. But you're just really kind of staying put, okay? And they might still be interested, and maybe their timeline isn't in a spot where they can move really fast and bring you on a visit now because of A, B, and C or whatever. And that's okay, and that happens, okay? It's not always something to the effect of, well, we want you to come on a visit now and you have to come next week, right? That's not. But once you get to the visit piece, that's when you know a school is interested. And you should be communicating with all the schools that you're communicating with in a way to get to that point, okay? We want to get to the visit. I had athletes with several visits over the course of the last couple of months, and I'm excited about every single one. And I had a parent say, well, we'd love to have like 4 or 5 visits. And I'm like, you really just need one, okay? We want to work up, just one visit is all we need. We don't have to have 5. It's great if we have 5. If we have 4 or 5 visits, that's fantastic if we can do all that. But really, we just need one, okay? So visits right now, for me, are really how we're gauging interest in schools. And so if you're communicating with schools, but you haven't had that kind of visit conversation yet, try to have it sooner than later and see where the school is, and they can see where you are, and everyone can get their timeline and everyone can be on the same page. So that's my time. 5-minute recruiting episode, a little bit longer, but I tried really hard. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you on YouTube next time or talk to you over podcast. Make sure you check out my website, privolleyball.com, for any recruiting questions that you have, and I will try my best to answer those through my blog, or I can do it here on the podcast as well. Thanks, guys.